clover field that was planted to wheat, or planted into wheat. The clover behind me was killed on the 30th of April. My problem that I had with this farm now is I wish now I would have had some more patience planting. I got into this farm when it was, I planted it on April 30th also. I should have waited until about May 10th or 11th when we got done with all the rain. We lost some population on this field due to the coolness of the soil. It was about 7 to 8 degrees colder when we planted it compared to the patch of corn on the very top of the hill, which was planted in soybeans. The soybean patch, that corn is all even, where if you look at this field, the corn is so uneven just due to the coldness of the ground. That is one thing that I have learned with some cover crops this year, especially the red clover, was learning to be patient.
Kevin, you want to go back a step last fall, what you did with this and what your thinking was from last fall till now?
Well, my thinking last fall was I was using this red clover as a nitrogen base. I didn't think I had to put on as much nitrogen. This farm is actually has a lot of rock on it, and I figured if I put on too much nitrogen last fall, I was gonna lose it. And I figured if I had some red clover out here, I would gain some of that nitrogen fixation from the legume of red clover to help get this crop going through. Well, maybe it will help me out here, but I'm not sure. I'm still disappointed more or less on the stand that I have. We planted it at about 23,000, and we probably got a stand of about 14 to 16.
What was your clover rate and your fertilizer, Kevin, last fall, and then what did you do this spring?
My clover rate that we sowed or that we put in with the dry fertilizer was I believe we put on like 3 pounds of clover, so it wasn't very much.
Okay.
Seeding or the fertilizer rate for anhydrous that we put on last fall, I think we put on about 90 pounds.
Okay.
Like I said, we didn't want to put on very much because we thought we could gain some stuff from the clover. And we always thought that we can always come back over the top with some dry if we thought we needed it. It's just a matter of this corn. Kevin was just too impatient. He thought he needed to get started planting, and it planted great though. I mean, when I come out here when we started planting, this ground was so soft you could stick your pliers all the way. You could bury your pliers by just pushing it in with your hand. The ground was so soft.
And that was
that was April 30th when we started planting. This ground was so soft, it planted great. But it was just a matter of the next day after we got done planting, it started raining, and it rained for 6 or 7 or 8 days, and the ground cooled off. It got below that 45 degrees, and I believe I lost my stand due to that for that reason.
Moisture and cold.
Yes.
You had wheat on it before, and that with clover. Any other reasons you think the soil was so workable, Kevin?
I think those were the 2 reasons right there, because this ground typically is very, very hard. This is an old pasture. It's been pasture. Well, it hasn't been pasture. Excuse me. Back up. This farm was initially pasture when I bought it 20 years ago. We've kept the rotation of wheat on it. It has to have a wheat rotation on this piece of ground every 3 years.
And do you put manure on this, Kevin, with your hogs?
This farm does get hog manure. This is one of the hog manured farms. So this farm usually gets about 2,000 gallons of hog manure every year, or this piece. So we try to keep, we're trying to keep the soil what it needs. This farm has been also, what do we call it? The GPS new soil.
VRT, Kevin? Variable rate? Is that what you're talking?
Well, we've had it soil sampled with grid sampling.
Grid sampling, okay.
This farm's been grid sampled, so we kind of know what we got to do here if it needs soil. This farm most generally needs lime more than it needs anything else because we're so rich with the hog manure.
So how does that factor into what your next steps are after corn this year, Kevin?
Well,
fertilizing and cover crops.
I think what we're going to end up doing with this piece is it's probably going to end up going to soybeans next year, and then we can turn around and come back to wheat. We probably won't put any cover crops on it for the following year just because if it's going to go into wheat and cover crop the following year.
How about protection this fall and winter, Kevin, since it's got the erosion? And
we will not touch this field. We will leave the corn stalks the way they are. We should be okay. Normally, if we don't touch the corn stalks, we're fine.
Okay.
So And if you look at this cornfield, you're going to say, well, why is there white out here in this field? This field has already been posted, so that is the reason why you see some of the white spots out here in the field and some of this corn.
With clover, Kevin, what'd you post on it?
We used Callisto along with 2 ounces of 2,4-D along with our AMS and a little bit of Synergize. So that is basically the program that we used on it.
What else with the clover, Kevin, if you were to summarize for those of us watching, what would you say for the clover that you were to give words of advice or nuggets you'd share about it?
If I did anything different for the clover wise, I would probably spend another 3 or 4 more pounds of clover because of the unevenness of the field of the clover when we spread it. I don't know if it was a wind problem or separation in the seed and the fertilizer. The patches are just not very good. You got some good spots in the field, and then you got some poor spots. I would probably want to have a little bit more clover out there for a cover.
Okay.
Now the other thing we did notice is when we planted into this, wherever there's heavy clover, the corn is still below the cover crop, below the clover, and wherever there's not, you can definitely see the difference in the corn height.
And your hypotheses are?
Patience.
Patience?
Patience.
Okay. Let's walk over here with the clover real quick here before we shut her down and just take a look at it. And I'm going to focus on the clover here, the stand, so get it closer, Kevin.
And as you see the clover, you can tell that the clover is, where it's thicker, the corn crop is a little bit shorter. So I don't know what causes that. That's where an agronomist would be nice to, if he could give me some answers to something like this.
Yep.
As to why there's such a shortness between where it isn't, and I'm guessing it's due to heat.
Do you look up there too, Kevin, where between the clover strips are there?
Yes. There's a
what
difference.
What are you thinking? There is a difference, isn't there?
There's a difference in the corn height.
Want to walk over there?
Yeah.
And we got
there's
about 7 minutes. We'll shut her down.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Boy,
in the
there's
corn.
a real defined difference.
There's a defined difference between where the clover crop is planted, right in here,
yep,
and where there's no clover planted. And then we have clover planted again right in here. There's 6 to 8 inches difference in that clover crop. What that does to that crop.
You thinking?
I don't know what to think now.
It's real defined. You can
yes,
look right up there the
whole
way.
Yes, it definitely shows it. And if you scan the field to the south, you can see the differences there too. But I like the idea of the clover out here in the field. The clover has been a benefit. There has been absolutely no runoff of any kind of water on this field, and this field is highly erodible because of the soil type. It has got a lot of rock and sand in it.
What is the soil type, Kevin?
I can't tell you right offhand here,
So
without looking it up.
Pawnee and Wymore.
I'm guessing that's probably what it is.
Okay, Kev. Anything else here for Shut Her Down?
Nope. I'm not the smartest dude in the world, but I try things.
No, you're doing a lot of neat things. Well done. Thanks.